sweep through the valley, and some folks in the valley experience firsthand just how fast the water can rise. Welcome to News 3 at Sunrise, where news comes first, everyone. I'm Scott Haws.
And I'm Chera, Kimiko in for Sue Manteris. It is Wednesday, August 30th. Will the wet weather continue today? That is the question. Of course, we have to check in with John Fredericks to see if that indeed will happen. Johnny?
Sharon, Scott, thank you. Often we feel like the boy who cried wolf. We warn and we warn and we warn, and nothing happens, and all of a sudden, boom, it does. Longtime Las Vegas residents are completely familiar with the pictures that we just showed you and what happened last night, where we get some embedded thunderstorms that go along with the rain, and boom, we get those brief heavy downpours. It doesn't take much to get some flooding here. We had rainfall totals upwards of 2 inches in some parts of the northwest side of the valley. Have a graphic I'll show you in just a little bit. Let's get you outside and take a look at what's going on out there. We do have mostly cloudy skies at 68 degrees, humidity at 93%, very uncomfortable outside. And winds north at 5, the barometer falling to 9.91 inches of mercury. I want to show you briefly what's happening right now. We're not seeing a lot of rain across the valley, but there is definitely a lot of moisture in and around the area. And the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch from noon until 9 o'clock tonight, meaning basically it's certainly possible that we could get some flooding. One of the areas, of course, always affected and always concerned about is the area around the Miracle Mile Mobile Home Park. Of course, that was the hardest hit last year during our 100-year storm. And this is what it looked like. Certainly, it could have been a lot worse because, like I said, most of the rainfall, significant rainfall, happened on the northwestern side of the valley. Still, quite a bit of runoff moving down along that wash right next to the mobile home park. As far as your forecast for today, sure, showers and thunderstorms certainly possible. It's going to be cool, only about 80 degrees, but very, very sticky outside. Labor Day holiday weekend's coming up. You're going to like that forecast. I'll have it for you coming up in just a few minutes. Chera, Scott?
Thank you, John. And as John just mentioned, a strong storm dumped rain on the valley yesterday. And of course, anytime we get a lot of rain in a short amount of time, we can expect a lot of flooding.
That's right. Several streets and neighborhoods looked more like rivers last night with all the water running through them. Rebecca Klein joins us here in the studio. Just got back from one northwest neighborhood. Rebecca, most of the water is gone, but now a lot of mud and a lot of cleanup.
Scott, that's what we thought when we headed out. We expected not to see very much water at all, and for the most part we didn't. But then when we hit one northwest neighborhood, it was still a river, about 3 inches of water covering the ground. When those people in the cul-de-sac wake up this morning, they might be surprised it's not just a sheet of water, but they're going to actually have to plow through that. It might be pretty hard in their cars. If we can roll video from last night, let me show you what it looked like out there last night. It looked more like a rushing river. This neighbor over here just trying to keep his house dry. The water came right up to his house. Luckily didn't go inside. He says it's a problem he faces every time it rains like this. He wants to see something done. And all across the northwest part of town, we saw cars stranded and people getting into all sorts of problems. Luckily, no injuries to report. Coming up at 6:30, we will hear in my live report right here from people who say it looked more like a chocolate mudslide than anything else, and they want something done about it. Back to you.
All right, Rebecca, thank you very much. Rescue crews were busy pulling stranded drivers, as you mentioned, from their cars last night, and those rescue crew members, and we do as well, want to remind you once again to please stay away from any streets that look like they are flooded.
And as Rebecca just told us, the rains caused some problems on the roads as well. Of course, this was a scene on Interstate 15 last night after an 18-wheeler lost control on the Slick Expressway and jackknifed in the southbound lanes. No one was seriously hurt, but the traffic was backed up for about an hour until this mess was cleaned up. And the wet weather may also be to blame for this school bus accident. The wreck happened yesterday afternoon at Hacienda and Orinda. Police say a woman driving a pickup tried to brake at the stop sign, but she ended up sliding into the intersection, crashing into the bus full of kids. 51 students from Chaparral High School were on their way home. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
And of course, the rain has stopped for now, but there is a lot of mud, a lot of gravel and debris out there, making this a very tricky commute this morning.
Right, drive slowly. Of course, Tom Hawley is joining us now to see how it is out there. Tom?
Well, it can be a problem. I was just amazed looking at all those pictures that we just saw, because rain in southern Nevada can be so localized. In my neighborhood, nothing. I mean, maybe a slight misting, and that was about it. But in Las Vegas, in southern Nevada, and the West in general, it can be very localized. Some areas can get the heavy rain, other areas missed completely. Right now on the roadways, there are a couple of accidents. It's hard to say whether they are weather-related or not. Right now, the roads are, for the most part, dry. Let's go ahead and take you outside. In the downtown area, there is a report of an accident over at Ogden and Las Vegas Boulevard, but as this picture indicates, it has now been cleared out of the way. This is the Fitzgerald's camera in the downtown area looking at Ogden and the Boulevard, which is just a block to the south of City Hall. Let's give you another view at a roadwork area at Sahara and Valley View, as seen from the Las Vegas area computer traffic system. Looking good over here. One accident reported down at Eastern and Karen, which is just off of Valley High School, a couple of blocks to the south of Sahara. One more view available to us from the Mandalay Bay camera, looking down at the intersection of Tropicana and I-15 and light traffic there. There is one accident reported on I-15, but is not here in the valley. It's at mile marker 72, which I'm going to say is pretty near the entrance to the Valley of Fire. So it's not going to affect traffic here in the valley at all. NHP is on the scene of that one. That is your traffic on the 3s. More coming up in a few minutes. Scott?
All right, Tom, we'll see you then. Thank you. A fight between a husband and wife turns deadly. Police are calling it a murder-suicide. Now, last night, just after 10, Metro officers responded to an apartment near Desert Inn in Arville, where they found a 28-year-old woman and her 48-year-old husband, both shot to death. Family members say the woman was living with her sisters, and the man came over to the house, and the couple started arguing. Police say the man shot his wife and then took his own life. Meantime, 16-year-old Conan Pope will go to trial on murder charges as originally planned, despite efforts from his attorneys to get the charges dropped. Pope, right here, is accused of killing his father back in January. Just a few weeks ago, his attorneys asked the judge to drop the murder charges, claiming prosecutors acted inappropriately during grand jury hearings. But a judge denied that request yesterday. Pope is out of jail on house arrest. His trial is set for the end of February.
A warning this morning. Police say a sexual predator is on the loose right here in the valley. So far, his attacks have been concentrated in the northwest part of town. Now, Metro thinks the same man has attacked 3 people within the past month. Here is where the crimes happened. Eastern and Silverado Ranch Road, that's Eastern and Silverado Ranch Road, rather, Buffalo and Vegas Drive, and then Buffalo and Washington. The suspect is described as a white man in his 30s, about 6 feet tall, driving a dark blue SUV. All of the victims were able to escape unhurt. Police, however, want to remind you to be aware of your surroundings and to call 911 if you feel you're in any danger.
If you are waiting to get a look inside the new Suncoast Hotel Casino, you will have to wait a little longer than expected, 11 days to be exact. The Suncoast will be delaying its grand opening for just over another week. The doors are now set to open Tuesday, September 12th, instead of this coming Friday, the 1st. The $200 million project located at Rampart and Alta includes over 400 rooms, a bowling alley, and a variety of restaurants. Guests will also be able to enjoy a new showroom and new movie theaters.
Should be nice. Time now, 6:08. It has been 4 years, and John and Patsy Ramsey are still under suspicion for the murder of their daughter. They wrapped up with meetings with investigators yesterday. Now find out what happened.
And Firestone's problems could be spreading to other continents. Find out how, coming up on News 3 at sunrise, where news comes first.
Today at 4.
Selling your home just got cheaper and easier. I'm Beth Fisher. We'll tell you where and how to list your house to get the most bang for your buck today on First News 3 at 4.
You're watching Channel 3, where news comes first. This is News 3 at sunrise.
And welcome back. Time now is 6:11. The parents of JonBenet Ramsey have finished their meetings with Colorado investigators. John and Patsy Ramsey were questioned in Atlanta for 2 days about the unsolved murder of their daughter. And after yesterday's session, the Ramseys' lawyer said it is now time for police to publicly clear his clients of suspicion in the death of JonBenet and give them, quote, peace of mind. The Ramseys answered every question except those dealing with the forensic evidence they have not seen.
I want to find out who did this to my daughter. I wanted to be proud. I wanted her to be proud of us that we're persisting in finding out who did this.
You know, we hope desperately that the killer will be found, but we didn't come here to prove our innocence.
This was the first time in more than 2 years that the Ramseys were officially questioned about the 1996 murder.
Problems for the Firestone Tire Company are now extending to other countries. The Ford Motor Company is accusing Firestone of distributing defective tires in Venezuela. Ford requested an extra safety layer of nylon meant to add protection on that country's rough roads, but that layer was not on the tires. Firestone says the tires were made correctly, but they were marked incorrectly. Venezuelan authorities are now investigating the tires in connection with 62 accidents.
Time now 6:12. He claims he gets no respect, but Rodney Dangerfield sure knows how to plan a wedding.
And before you head out the door, we will have another check on your morning commute with traffic on the 3s and Tom Hawley. That is coming up next on News 3, where news comes first.
Tonight at 5.
I'm Nina Raditich. It's back to school time, and that means updating immunizations. But there may be something you're overlooking when it comes to your child's good health. What you should know tonight at 5.
Metro Police are still on the scene of a small accident which is on Eastern at Karen. That's a couple of blocks to the south of Sahara. Nevada Highway Patrol is on an accident which is on I-15 at mile marker 72, quite some distance. That's up near the entrance to the Valley of Fire, so not affecting the traffic here in the Las Vegas Valley. Let's take you outside for a little look-see at the roadways, starting out with this view from the Fitzgerald's camera, looking at a pretty good flow of traffic here, although it is a bit foggy, would we say that? This is from the Mandalay Bay camera. Yeah, I heard a report on the radio this morning coming in of reports of fog in Las Vegas. I guess rolling in off the coast. Is it cold out there? It's an unusual sight to see anything remotely resembling fog in Las Vegas, but I've seen it 1 or 2 times over the years, and in fact, there may be just a tiny bit in this shot here. Let's give you another shot. This time it'll be from the Rio camera, and we're looking from the west to the east. Very light traffic on Flamingo itself, and almost no traffic on Las Vegas Boulevard. And of course, when there is the heavy traffic, you see the walkways coming across the top. Pedestrians go up and over. A very effective solution to traffic problems here at Flamingo and also down at Tropicana in the Boulevard. So when are we going to see some more walkways being built? Actually, there's one being built right now. Look at this construction spot here. That is in front of the Treasure Island, a little bit to the south of Spring Mountain Road. Just noticed this work taking place yesterday, and I knew this project was going to happen, but I hadn't heard about an official groundbreaking. There you see, of course, the porta potty, the mark of any true construction site, and also some work taking place across the street. That is the entrance that will take you into the Venetian. Above the entrance sign at ground level is another entrance. When it's finally done, this is approximately what you're going to see here. Bear in mind, this rendition dates from before the Venetian was built. That's why it looks kind of funky on the right side. But you see 4 bridges. The one on the south side at the bottom of your screen is recessed from the intersection, and that is to get it out of the way of Buccaneer Bay so people don't use it as viewing platform. So that first bridge is now under construction. It should be done early next year, and we will have 1 walkway built. 3 more eventually to be built over the course of the next couple of years. It's Spring Mountain Road and the Strip. And then there are some remote plans, some ideas for walkways at other locations further down the road. That is your traffic on the 3s. We're talking monorail in a few minutes. Scott, Chera.
All right, Tom, thank you. Rodney Dangerfield figured the perfect place for a wedding was at the premiere of his new movie, My 5 Wives. The 78-year-old comedian remarried his second wife, Joan, Monday. Several celebrities were on hand for the ceremony. Comedian Andrew Dice Clay officiated. Bada bing. While Adam Sandler served as the best man, model and pitchman Fabio was also part of the wedding party. And of course, in the famous words of Fabio, I can't believe it's not butter.
You do that so well.
Oh, what a party. I mean,
know, I was just going to say.
he's just having fun out there. Isn't that great?
Between Adam Sandler, Fabio.
No respect.
Yeah.
There I was in the checkout line. All right.
Should we stop there? Because Rodney can get a little bit, but that's great. I mean, he wanted to
Beautiful lady as well.
let his wife know how much he
Remarry
loved
his beautiful bride.
Right.
Good for him.
Adam Sandler and Andrew Dice Clay.
Him as the best man, Adam Sandler.
All right.
Should be interesting.
Okay, and speaking of the Charleston Underpass, sorry, the forced segue there,
Nice.
folks.
Very smooth.
I know, yeah, really smooth as glass. Of course, it's one of the hot spots, and we'll take the video there, I think, any time, perhaps. There it is.
There you go.
And underpass is closed ahead. Of course, this was last night.
Are you sure we just haven't recued this from the other 50 times.
Any other time it sprinkles?
Exactly.
Well,
Ew,
you know
that
what?
does
Tom
not
Hawley's
look
been
fun.
telling you for quite some time, and that guy looking for his car. Anyway, Tom Hawley has been telling you for quite some time they are working on this situation, and it won't be too long, right, Tom, where this is going to be a site of the past, correct?
Early 2002.
Early 2002. Thank you. There you go. All right. Wandering around there. That's right. Spending time on his break, I'm sure. All right. Let's take a trip up the... look at that. Currently, we got some localized fog going on outside. Now, that's not something you see very often, folks, as Tom Hawley just mentioned a moment ago. But, yep, we got a lot of vegetation, we got a lot of moisture out there, and you folks from foggy areas of the country, well, welcome home. We got some localized fog, 69 degrees, 87% relative humidity, winds variable 3, barometer rising at 29.92 inches of mercury. Let's take a trip up the river and over the top of the valley. I do want to talk about some rainfall totals, and I'll get to those in just a few moments. Other numbers including 65 in Summerlin. Of course, that's where the bulk of the rainfall fell last night. 65 Boulder City, 70 right now at the Air Force Base. National Weather Service here in Las Vegas has issued a flash flood watch. It's a watch, just meaning look out. Watch means that flooding is possible in our forecast area, including all of the Las Vegas Valley, from noon until 9. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it's not happening. Doesn't mean it will. It just means we got to kind of we'll look out because the ground is so saturated. 81 gusty winds if we get any thunderstorms. If we avoid thunderstorm activity, I think we'll be okay. That's exactly what we didn't avoid last night, and that's where we got all the problems. Officially, the number that goes in the record books, about a half an inch out at McCarran. Yesterday's high 82. That happened yesterday morning at 1:13. Do want to show you again some other numbers, and you have to look closely, but we got 1.77 inches. This is all within a couple hours, 1.77, 1.73, respectively at Lone Mountain near Wallapai and Lone Mountain Detention Basin. A little bit further to the south, right at Angel Park, 1.73 inches of rain came down like that. 2.2 plus inches out at Red Rock. Amazing stuff. And I'll tell you, Chera, you slept through it, didn't you?
I did. Didn't hear a single thing.
Man, I was unfortunate. I was out in it, and we continue to see showers develop, go away, and then redevelop across the Las Vegas Valley. Right now, all we've really got out there is just some mist and some fog. However, we still have that big blanket of moisture over the top of us. It is going to get pushed off to the east over the next couple of days. Today certainly is the day we have the greatest potential of any more flooding. After today, it certainly decreases, and then I think we're going to be okay. Slight chance of an isolated storm tomorrow. 56 Ely, 65 Reno, 61 San Francisco. Rest of the nation, the only thing going on is the record high heat continues across the south central area of the United States, and there is going to be the potential for some flooding rainfall across the southeast. Other than that, all eyes continue to be on the southwest, where we continue to see the potential for the monsoon moisture to spark some thunderstorms, and that's why the National Weather Service has issued that flash flood watch. There it is, all of that moisture training up. But trust me, in the next couple of days, it's all going to get pushed off to the east. Labor Day holiday weekend looks wonderful. About 30 seconds away from giving you a chance to win a beautiful getaway to the fabulous Cy Red's Oasis in Mesquite. There's your right now temperatures across the lower 48, 56 Seattle, 66 Big Apple, 80 in Miami, 61 degrees in the city by the bay. So today, with the showers and storms possible, as long as we can keep the thunderstorms at bay, I think we're going to be okay. If we get some isolated thunderstorms, flooding's possible. That's why we have the flash flood watch from noon until 9. Take a look at these temperatures all the way through the extended period. It could get warmer than that, but right now I don't think so. Certainly it's going to clear out. All right, finally, here we go. Studies show the principal reason to lie is to blank blank. Studies show the principal reason to lie is to blank blank. Give us a call right now, 657-3425, if you have the correct answer. You and a guest are going to be spending 3 days and 2 fabulous nights at Cy Red's fabulous Oasis in Mesquite, and you'll also tee it up with 2 18 holes of golf out at their wonderful Palms Golf Course. Give us a call, 657-3425. We'll have your answer in the next half hour.
Nice shot. Thank you very much, John. 6:23 right now. I believe it is time for Traffic on the Threes. Tom Hawley will be talking monorail. Tom, is that correct?
I think coming up after the break.
Also, Tell you about Pedro Martinez, who pitched a gem last night. Unfortunately, it was overshadowed by tensions on the field. We'll have highlights next in sports on News 3, where news comes first.
Going down, can you imagine?
Hasn't been all that bad on the roadways this morning now that things are starting to dry out a little bit from some isolated rains we had in the overnight hours. But police are still on the scene of an earlier accident, which is down at the intersection of Eastern and Karen, just to the south of Chera. Let's take you outside with a look-see from the Fitzgerald's camera at a pretty good flow of traffic on the freeways. Again, you got to watch out for a couple of slick spots still around in some areas, but that does not seem to be adversely affecting the flow of traffic at this particular point. Another view available to us this time from the Rio Suite Hotel and Casino, and pretty light traffic. And yeah, I'm not going to call this San Francisco fog, but the atmosphere does look a little bit thicker than we see usually. I mean, it's really not enough that you'd say it's causing problems with the visibility for people getting to and from work. But yeah, it's a little bit of a different traffic situation than you normally see this time of the morning. High fives all around for monorail enthusiasts. Earlier yesterday, as the project jumped its last major hurdle, Governor Kenny Gwinn and the State Board of Finance decided to approve $650 million in tax-exempt bonds. Wow. This paves the way for construction of a transit-grade monorail from the MGM in the south to the Sahara in the north, with stops along the way at several other hotels and the convention center. It'll extend the existing track now between the MGM and Bally's, but the vehicles will be larger and faster, similar to the system at Walt Disney World in Florida. The Las Vegas system will be equipped to carry up to 5,000 passengers per direction per hour, eventually expanding to 20,000. The price for a one-way trip is $2.50. An important factor in getting things up on the vote, getting thumbs up on the vote, were lawsuits from both the Venetian and the Desert Inn Homeowners Association against the project. They have been dropped. Construction could start as soon as October with a completion in early 2005. Wow. Don't know if y'all have seen your issues or not yet or not, but it is in fact,
someone took mine.
It's the cover story on this month's Nevada Contractor. Actually, I don't even know where my issue is. This one is for our former traffic reporter Roger Bell, apparently, because I don't have my copy. But it is the cover story. Now you're not going to find the Nevada Contractor at your local newsstand. I was going to show you how to find it on the web. However, the Nevada Contractor has not updated their website. They're still showing last month's issue. As soon as it comes up online, I'll let you know. Here, it actually is a very informative article, and unlike some things in here, it is written in language that is actually
you can understand.
Everyone can understand. It's not geared necessarily just towards transportation and construction people. Right. So we'll let you know when it goes up online.
News.
Yeah.
High five.
It is good news for people who want to see some improvements to mass transportation in the Las Vegas Valley.
Very cool.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Tom.
It is 6:28 right now. The Golden Boy is going to court to sue his promoter.
And Pedro Martinez flirts with a no-hitter in a game filled with brawls. Mitch Roberts has highlights in Sunrise Sports.
Oscar De La Hoya has filed a lawsuit in federal court seeking to end his agreement with promoter Bob Arum. He doesn't want any money. He just wants out of the contract. There are 3 years left on the deal, but De La Hoya says he still wants out after an 8-year partnership with Arum in which both made millions. Reportedly, he's mad at Bob for telling reporters after the loss to Sugar Shane Mosley that he wanted Oscar to go ahead and retire. Didn't want him hit in the head anymore. Arum is quoted as calling this lawsuit despicable. Well, Kevin Nicholson was called up last night to the San Diego Padres. He's going to fill in there for Padres second baseman Brett Boone, who was placed on the 15-day DL with a right knee contusion. It is Kevin's second call up to San Diego this year. Earlier this season, he had 34 games appearances. He had 223 at the plate, a home run, and 8 RBIs. Last night, Stars home trying to play Fresno, because the rain pretty much came and washed it out. Vegas first baseman Gabe Alvarez started things off with a blast to the wall and right, scored LaRocca for a 1-0 lead. Now, back come the Grizzlies a bit later. It's a Juan Melo base hit to right, scoring the game-tying run. But then, as I mentioned, Mother Nature came in, tied 1-1 in the third, and boy, the skies opened up near downtown at Cashman Field. Now, the game is not going to be made up. It's just canceled straight up. Neither team in the playoff race, so you're not going to worry about it. To the Bigs, Red Sox felt good about their chances of winning last night, putting Pedro Martinez in the mound in Tampa. But all hell broke loose. He hit Gerald Williams on the high, tight pitch in the fingers. The more Gerald Williams thought about it, the more he's going to charge Mr. Cy Young. Get in there. Boom. Got him once there. Boom. Got another one in there on Martinez. Mr. Cy Young going down. Can you imagine if he would have twisted his wrist or ruined his arm or something? But anyway, Williams ejected. So the Tampa pitchers get ejected for retaliation. A couple of them get thrown, a couple of more mini base brawls. Lost in all of it. Martinez able to stay in the game and had a no-hitter going into the ninth, but Flaherty broke it up with a base hit to right. Still, Red Sox won a big one for them in the wild card race, 8-0 over Tampa. Others for you: Detroit won, Kansas City 7-3, and Seattle finally wins one. White Sox win Anaheim 9-4 over Toronto. In the National League, Arizona wins Florida 3-1, Pittsburgh 8-0. Big story on this page: Mets lose, so do Atlanta down low. So in the East, it's still tied. Mets and Braves. Colorado winning a meaningless game in Philadelphia. Elsewhere, Cubs win 7-6, and Dodgers a 7-2 win over Milwaukee. UNLV quarterback Matt Ray has decided he's not going to play at UNLV anymore. He's transferring to another school where he can get more playing time. Ray asked Coach John Robinson for his release shortly after Jason Thomas was named this year's starting quarterback at UNLV. Matt would have been a sophomore this year. He started 3 games for the Rebels last season, all losses to Air Force, San Diego State, and then Colorado State. That'll do it for this edition of Sunrise Sports. Hope to see you again at 6 and 11. Until next time, I'm Mitch Roberts. Have a good day.
6:31 right now, and a lot more news coming up in the next half hour of Sunrise.
I'm Rebecca Klein. The skies opened, the rain poured, and valley roadways became rivers. If you didn't venture out last night, you'll be glad you stayed in once you see what drivers had to deal with.
Not much of a fashion statement if you're wandering the parking lots of UNLV, but I would hang on to it one more day. I'll have your complete forecast coming up next year on News 3 at Sunrise, where news comes first.
Plus, it's a seller's market for real estate. Find out how you can save money by using the internet. All this and more in our next half hour.
When I got the car stopped, when I came over the hill, my front tires were 10 inches in the water, but the water grabbed the car and threw it right off the road.
A storm in the valley sends fast-moving water rushing across streets and neighborhoods. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Chera, Kimiko, in for Sue Manteris.
And I'm Scott Haws. It is Wednesday, August 30th. Thanks for joining us. We'll get to our top stories in a moment, but first, we do want to check on traffic. Of course, a lot of debris in the roadways and some mud as well.
And fog, right?
Fog is the one that's surprising, and yet there have been some reports of apparently a couple of patches of fog here and there. You really don't see that very often in Las Vegas. I would say that incidents of fog are separated by years rather than months here in southern Nevada. I did get a report of an accident last night involving a jackknife tractor trailer on I-15. Didn't get an exact location or a time, but here's the video. Let's see if we can figure out the location by taking a look at it. Anyhow, this did snarl traffic on the southbound interstate. You can see a lot of water in the roadway there. Apparently it came down fairly heavy at some times, and coming down heavy in that picture right there. And there we go. I think that was the Flamingo that just zipped by in that shot there. So apparently it was right in the center of the resort corridor on I-15. Really snarled traffic in the overnight hours. Certainly not a factor now. In fact, the roadways are dry for the most part. Let's go ahead and give you a current outside view of what's happening as seen from the Rio camera. Again, it's not what you'd call San Francisco Bay fog, but the atmosphere is a little bit thicker than we're used to seeing here in southern Nevada. And in fact, I have seen fog. The actual thick stuff made us stop flying once when we were flying in the morning about 10 years ago in the helicopter, but it's not that thick right now. Still a little bit of, well, we'll hear more about that from John Fredericks in a moment. Let's give you another view from the Las Vegas area computer traffic system. Sierra and Valley View, a construction zone, but construction not a factor at this moment. The only thing you have there is some work in the westbound lanes just approaching this area out of sight of this camera shot. We'll talk a little bit more about the monorail coming up in a few minutes, but first we still have weather on the brain, so let's go to the Weather Center and the brainiac John Fredericks.
Tom, thank you very much. And looking at that fog out there might make me think of being homesick for Southern California coastlines, but it doesn't. I'm home right here in southern Nevada. Outside right now with the patches of fog, we've got cloud cover out there. Some light showers around, basically, but the heavy stuff has stopped. All the warnings have been allowed to expire. They are expired at about 1 o'clock this morning. However, there is a watch to talk about. I'll do that in a moment. 69 degrees with patches of fog, 87% relative humidity. Winds just nothing. Barometer is rising. The Channel 3 Doppler radar picture shows showers that are just kind of trying to make their way toward the valley. This is actually the last frame. We'll go ahead and refire it up, and we'll see if we got anything going on. Yes, there is a little band of moisture moving toward the Las Vegas, actually the Spaghetti Bowl interchange and the Summerlin curve at this time, the Rainbow curve rather. Your forecast for today does call for a flash flood watch issued by the National Weather Service. It goes into effect today at 12 noon. It's in effect till 9 o'clock. Keep in mind, a watch merely means that flooding is possible in our forecast area, including the Las Vegas metropolitan valley, or metropolitan area, excuse me. We might top out today at only 81 degrees, but still uncomfortably humid out there. We'll have your extended forecast all coming up, but right now, back to you, Chera and Scott.
All right, John, thank you. What a difference a few hours can make. Just hours ago, valley streets, especially up in the northwest part of town, looked like rivers. The rain pounded down and the floodgates opened.
That's right. Anytime we get a lot of rain in a short time, it can cause problems with, of course, flooding. Rebecca Klein joins us now with more on last night's storm. And Rebecca, you just came back.
I did, Chera. I visited one northwest neighborhood earlier this morning, and even though a lot of the roads are now dry, head near Durango and Creighton, you'll find flooded out spots, and one neighborhood street still a river.
The floodwater was as wide as the street is over there and probably about 12 inches deep. Flooded my whole yard. This is the fourth time I've been flooded in 2 years.
The water stopped just short of swimming into Doug Johnson's home, but it showed no mercy on his street. Over on Craig and Tanea, we met up with these guys trying to get their car and themselves out of the water.
I go to turn around, and I guess because the mud is so soft, my car sunk.
Every time it rains, right here, it's like the chocolate factory coming out of the mountains. Willy Wonka. I said, why they don't have sewers out here? They have no drainage out here. There's nothing here but caliche.
Does this happen all the time it rains?
Every time it rains, in the same spot.
The Charleston underpass closed up shop as the water started to rise. Not the case at Craig and Durango as we caught up with more stranded drivers.
I was almost stuck down there, and I made it up here, and then it got really bad, and I didn't even attempt it. Everyone was stopped, so I've just been kind of camped out here for a while.
Rescue workers asked a lot of the drivers who were stranded to try to move to the highest part of the road possible so they would be safe. Now, most people followed that. However, we did hear about one teenage girl who actually got out of her car into a fire van and drove off. She then spun out. This time she waited patiently for the rescue workers to come to her rescue. Back to you, Chera.
Wow, Rebecca, thank you. And there's definitely a lot of cleanup work ahead. Luckily, no injuries to report from the number of rescue calls we saw across the northwest part of town overnight.
Meantime, in other news, a fight between a husband and wife turns deadly. Police are calling it a murder-suicide. Last night, just after 10, Metro officers responded to an apartment near Desert Inn and Arville where they found a 28-year-old woman and her 48-year-old husband shot to death. Family members say the woman was living with her sisters at the time, and the man came over to the house and the couple started arguing. Police say the man shot his wife and then took his own life.
A warning this morning. Police say a sexual predator is on the loose right here in the valley. Now, here's a map to show you. Metro thinks the same man has attacked 3 people within the past month. Here's where the crimes have happened: Eastern and Silverado Ranch Road, Buffalo and Vegas Drive, and Buffalo and Washington. The suspect is described as a white man in his 30s, about 6 feet tall. He was seen driving a dark blue SUV. All of the victims were able to escape unhurt. Police, however, want to remind you to be aware of your surroundings and to call 911 if you feel you're in danger at any time.
The parents of JonBenet Ramsey have finished their meetings with Colorado investigators. John and Patsy Ramsey were questioned for 2 days in Atlanta about the unsolved murder of their daughter. After yesterday's session, the Ramseys' lawyer said it is now time for the police to publicly clear his clients of suspicion in the death of JonBenet and give them, quote, peace of mind. The Ramseys answered every question except those dealing with the forensic evidence they still have not seen. This was the first time in more than 2 years that the Ramseys were officially questioned about the 1996 murder.
Time now is 6:40. Are you looking to sell your home? Maybe.
A lot of people in the valley are.
That's right. You can save a lot of money with the click of a mouse.
Find out how coming up on News 3, where news comes first.
Choose your business bank as carefully as you choose your business partner. From Progressive Business Loans to revolving lines of credit, Bank West of Nevada, your business partner. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back, everyone. 6:43 right now. Time for traffic on the threes.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. Apparently we had some rain last night, although I slept through it if it was in my neighborhood at all. But there were some slick roadways. No, I guess it came after I fell asleep.
Don't feel bad. I didn't hear it either.
But right now, the roadways have, for the most part, dried out and are looking pretty good. Let's show you those roadways as seen from the Mandalay Bay camera, looking at the Beltway now. I-215 at Warm Springs Road and also the airport connector. Very light traffic. Don't see any flashing lights. That's good news. Fog, well, it's stretching the definition of fog a little bit, but the atmosphere does have more moisture in it than we're used to seeing here. Let's give you another view from the Rio camera. This is looking down at I-15 and the Spring Mountain Road interchange. Light traffic there and slick roadways maybe in some areas, but for the most part the interstate is dried out and we're looking pretty good. Just one accident reported on I-15. It's not even in the valley. It's at mile marker 72, which is going to be put it pretty near the entrance to the Valley of Fire. Let's show you one more camera view from the Fitzgeralds. This is looking at US 95. The oncoming traffic is eastbound. The brake light traffic is westbound, but you don't see too many brake lights because the traffic is light, not causing big problems on the roadways. $650 million in tax-exempt bonds. That's the decision that came from the State Board of Finance yesterday. Let's see this baby in motion. This is something along the lines of, that's the wrong button. Mike Clavo came in there.
Very nice.
This is actually fairly similar to the actual system we'll see there. This is based on the Bombardier M6 system, which is in Walt Disney World. What's going to be built here in the Las Vegas Valley is the Bombardier, or this is the Mark 6. What will be built here in the Las Vegas Valley is the M6, which is a slight upgrade on that. And what remains to be seen here is whether it'll plummet off the edge there or no. Chera makes the switch.
Last time it fell.
So the monorail.
And that's similar to the real one because there will be a big hand starting that one that will just
exactly so. It is actually similar in the sense that this is powered by rubber tires underneath, and that's really similar to the system that'll be used. This is remarkably simplified. But construction is going to start in just a couple of months here, and this baby could be up and running by early 2005 from the MGM all the way up to the Sahara, carrying up to 5,000 passengers per direction per hour.
So it looks like it finally will happen.
Looks like it's going to happen. They're going to start selling bonds next month.
All right, Tom, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
If you have some property you want to sell, now might be a good time because it is a seller's market. But why pay a 6% commission to a real estate agent? Websites such as YHD.com offer lower commissions. For example, YHD.com has a sliding scale from 2 to 3.9%. Now, the commission you pay depends on the services you choose. Experts say there are 3 questions, though, you should ask yourself when you are choosing a real estate agent. First, how much exposure will you receive for your fee? Does it include newspaper, internet, and multiple listing services? How long is your contract with the company? And if you negotiate a lower commission, will it affect the level of service you are getting? Now, YHD.com is only available in New Jersey, but you can find online realtors just about anywhere.
Okay, well, we don't have time up, but no more excuses for not getting in shape.
We'll tell you how to enter our special contest that could get you the body you've always wanted.
National Weather Service says watch out. I'll tell you why. We'll have your complete forecast and the answer to the Fredericks fact coming up next here on News 3 at sunrise. Where news comes first.
The Walt Disney World Resort, welcome to the Magic Kingdom.
Time now 6:48. If you want to get fit but you're lacking motivation, have we got a deal for you? We're looking for 5 viewers.
5. Count
5
them.
viewers.
1, 2, 3,
who are
4,
tired
5.
of being out of shape or just plain unhealthy.
That's right. News 3 and the Las Vegas Athletic Club will hook you up with gym memberships, personal trainers, and nutritional advice. And of course, here is how you get that information to us. You can mail it at 1500 Four Master Lane, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89101, or you can email us.
That's right, and our website address is at the bottom of your screen. We do, however, ask that you be 18 years of age to enter and that you send a picture. That is a must. It is required. And, of course, we'll choose 5 lucky winners and follow their progress for an entire year.
And again, the picture is very important.
Yes, that is.
It is a must. Meantime, we've seen several pictures of the weather outside from overnight, especially in the northwest part of town.
Right.
A lot
flooding.
of rain. And of course, the flood control systems worked rather well in terms of draining that water down from the west side to the east side. But again, now that the ground is saturated,
we'll see what
if we
happens
get
next.
much more rain, it could be trouble. John Fredericks has the latest.
Scott, you're absolutely right. You put it in a nutshell, and that's why the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch. It goes into effect at noon. It's in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. A watch merely means that flooding is possible in our area. Doesn't mean it will happen. Certainly means you want to keep tuned to Channel 3 for any changes in our quickly changing weather forecast here of late. Outside right now with patches of fog and cloud cover. 69 degree is the temperature reading, the air temperature, the dew point temperature, the temperature to which the air must cool for there to be dew or condensation is 65. That tells you there's just a lot of moisture out there. Humidity at 87% would verify that. Winds variable at 3, so no relief there. Barometer rising 2992 inches of mercury. Tom Hawley said he slept through it. So Tom, Nate Tannenbaum was nice enough to record the event for you. Starting at 6 o'clock, our close-up radar, I said, not too much going on. Vroom, there it went. And then at midnight, it was all gone. We'll have our right now radar picture for you in just a moment. Let's take our last trip up the river and over the top of the valley. Right now, we do have some showers around, certainly, but mainly it's just foggy and cloudy. It's been raining pretty much almost nonstop in the last couple of days up at Pat's Place, Lee Canyon, 48 there, 70 Henderson, 67 Spring Valley, 68 at Franny's over the hump, 70 degrees right now in Mesquite. Your first look forecast will get you through drive time at noon. Don't forget, the flash flood watch goes into effect. It is not a warning, it's merely a watch, meaning it could happen. A warning means flooding is either happening or will happen. That's what we had last night when we got hammered on the northwestern side of town. 81 your high today. Once again, the temperature readings become almost insignificant. Our afternoon high yesterday was actually 82. You know what time we hit that?
3:15.
1:13 yesterday morning.
Wow.
Normal high is 100. Forget about that through the extended period. Precip officially out of McCarran, half of an inch, but some other totals I'll show you in just a moment. Sun got up at 6:11. It will set this evening at 7:12. We're not going to see a whole lot of it. Again, we had rainfall totals by way of the flood control district's automatic rain gauges. 177, 173. This is up around Lone Mountain. Then at the Angel Park Golf Course, 173, 1.73 inches of rain. And you folks know out there, it came down like that. And then at the Red Rock Detention Basin, 2.28 inches of rain in just that short period of time. Right now, rain pictures look like this. Not a whole lot going on. Let's see. This is actually a bad frame here, so I can't stop it. But right now, we're getting a little band of moisture right on the western side of Valley. But like I said, if we start seeing some breaks in the cloud cover and we get some surface heating, we get some thunderstorms, that would be where we would have the problems. If we can just get some light to moderate rainfall throughout the day and the evening, I think we're going to be okay, because after tomorrow particularly, we're going to really start clearing out the valley. Temperature readings there across the west. We're going to get one last chance, folks, and then dry and less humid for your holiday weekend. Certainly wonderful news today. We just really need to get through today. And then tomorrow, just a slight chance of a storm, much drier, but still temperatures well below normal all the way through the holiday weekend. Finally, the answer to this morning's Fredericks fact. This is, you know, the thing is when you fill in the blanks, sometimes it takes a little bit to think about it, but this is not too bad. Studies show the principal reason to lie is to...
Save face.
Claybo says score with the chicks.
Save
all right,
face,
Cliffy.
That's why he's still single.
Avoid punishment.
Avoid punishment.
Yeah. Anyway, 2 nights and 3 days goes to, at the Cyred's Fabulous Oasis, to Connie Wheeler. And first time she's ever won anything in Southern Nevada.
Not related to Wheeler's RV.
I don't believe so, but we'll check with Bud.
Okay.
Anyway, we're going to send her up to the Oasis of Mesquite. Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you. Time now to check with Tom Hawley for traffic on the 3s.
Tom?
And let's go ahead and take it outside with the Fitzgerald's camera for a look at the here and now of the roadways, which have actually been light despite the rain in the overnight hours. Looking here at I-15 and Sahara, the flyover bridge, traffic a little bit busier in the northbound lanes than the southbound lanes, and that ubiquitous crane moving across the front of your screen, working on the Regional Justice Center. Next view from the Mandalay Bay camera, and this is down to the south of the valley, looking at the Flamingo interchange at I-15. Of course, Martin Luther King Boulevard Boulevard is still closed northbound. In Oakey, that has been the case for the last month. This is the area where you cannot make that movement from northbound to Martin Luther King Boulevard onto I-15 or all the way down to Charleston if you're coming from Oakey. What's not clear to me is why you can't use Oakey and MLK to access I-15. You can see here the work at the top of your screen is north of the I-15 entrance, but south of there, no lane restrictions. Nonetheless, the road is closed. Now, it seems like it would make sense to have a sign up there that says I-15 access only, no through traffic down to Charleston, and yet they blocked off the entire roadway. It seems to be a meaningless movement here because there really is nothing there that would stop motors from using Martin Luther King Boulevard northbound from Oakey to get up onto I-15. I just noticed this late yesterday afternoon after City Public Works offices were closed. I'll talk to them about it, see what they have to say about the matter. But right now, it would appear that motorists are being stopped from entering the interstate for no apparent good reason. Anyhow, that is your traffic on the 3s. We'll have more news coming up right after this.
Go, go, go. Okay, here we go. On my count. 2, 18, 71, 3. Hike.
Okay, what do we have here?
It's a very serious procedure.
We're going to need a camera for this one. Change the monitor. Microphone.
Doctor, what kind of operation is this?
It's football! We'll examine all the high school games. We'll have the highlights, the bands, and the cheerleaders.
Get the pulse on high school sports. Operation Football. Friday nights only on News 3, nights at 11. Brought to you by Sunrise Children's Hospital. We're doing amazing things.
It is critical that you watch.
We have just enough time to check on traffic and weather again.
We have the rain coming down, not to step on John's weather also, but rain potential, and that could cause potential danger on the roadways, but right now they're dry and looking pretty good.
And right now we're fine, although the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch. It goes into effect at noon, just meaning that flooding is possible, so keep it right here for all the latest.
Have a good morning.